Thank you for visiting is this week's theme. What's it all about? You'll find out coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning with the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on National Tourism Week, and we're visiting with the President and CEO of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, Brad Dean. Good morning, Brad.
Hey, good to see you again, Greg.
Thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Always good to be on Carolina People.
That's kind, absolutely. You know, we think back a couple of years to your first adventure on the show when we were out at Santee Cooper.
That's right.
Kicking off right before I guess at that time, the 10th Annual American Heart Walk.
Had a great Heart Walk. Graham Edwards, of course, was the co-chair, and you and a lot of others were involved, and that was a great day for the Heart Association and for the community.
173,000 raised, I think, that year. It was only last year they had that incredible goal to try to beat. It's always better to have these high goals to keep trying to work towards.
Well, the Heart Association impacts so many people. They've done a wonderful job at getting the community involved, and we were delighted to be a part of that one and look forward to future events like that.
Absolutely, Brad. I think it was just a couple of last Saturday that I saw your bride and your beautiful baby girl, Gina Marie, out at the pavilion at another walk, the March of Dimes Walk America.
Yeah, isn't it great, though? We live in a community where you can have beach walks to raise money. Other communities would love to have that opportunity, and we have a plethora of them to choose from, so
That's
it's a great opportunity.
That's exactly right. Well, what's National Tourism Week all about, Brad?
National Tourism Week is really an opportunity for the nation to take note of one of its largest and most important industries, tourism. And, of course, here along the Grand Strand, we understand that very well because tourism is our #1 industry and the state's #1 industry. But nationwide, we don't think of tourism as being a great employer, and yet it employs millions of people, generates billions and billions of dollars into the economy, and it's one of those industries that doesn't require smokestacks, it doesn't leave on a semi-truck, and it won't get outsourced. So we're excited about the opportunity to celebrate National Tourism Week this week.
Those are great words, won't get outsourced. And that is a big deal that impacts so many as we think about congressional legislation even to try to limit outsourcing. I mean, the idea that tourism truly won't now, won't tomorrow, nor ever will.
Yeah, the only outsourcing that happens is when you get out and competed. So we hope to continue to draw attention to tourism. Those of us here along the Grand Strand understand the impact, but even those in South Carolina don't realize that tourism generates over $15 billion, and that's billion with a B, dollars for our state government. It's not just for local businesses, but it funds schools and roads and bridges, things that we need in South Carolina, and it's got great growth potential. So National Tourism Week is symbolic. Really, Tourism Week is 52 weeks in Myrtle Beach and the surrounding areas, but for us, we believe that National Tourism Week is a great opportunity to recognize the importance of this important industry.
Absolutely, Brad. I think it was last week, a lot of area papers ran an op-ed you'd done highlighting National Tourism Week, and you drove home that point. But to think about the Grand Strand alone, when you use a $15 billion figure statewide, it's a third of that coming out of this area?
Yeah, we are the cash cow for the state of South Carolina, although sometimes they forget we've got to feed that cash cow, so we like to put a little bit back into the Grand Strand, but we're essentially 1/3 of the tourism, and if you look at the growth of the Grand Strand, I think that's largely protected the state in its toughest years when we've lost revenues from video poker and other sources. We've seen the textile industry struggle. Tourism has really been the support structure for the state, and we think if it continues to grow, so will grow the state of South Carolina.
Tourism comes in lots of different shades, lots of different colors. I mean, there's quite a bit to tourism. And we think about, and of course, we've seen a lot about heritage tourism in the PD or other parts of the Carolinas recently. Some of that's even happening down here now.
It really is, and that's a great point. We think of tourism, of course, being families in the summer and golfers in the spring and fall, and those are important parts. But the convention market, the group market, that's almost 10% of our total tourism. And these new trends, heritage tourism, cultural tourism, historical tourism, those offer the opportunity to reach out to people who might not otherwise come here, or those who are already coming and give them reason to do more and stay longer. And with so much history and so many beautiful natural resources, the opportunity to market heritage tourism, historical tourism, and nature-based tourism is a growth market not only for the coast but for all of South Carolina. So tourism has been great to this state in this area in the past, but we think it's got even greater potential in the future.
That is critical. You know, earlier in the week, actually just yesterday, Lisa Boursier was with us, and it's fascinating hearing her talk about the 1,134 square miles of this county alone. Of course, you know, when you talk about the Grand Strand, you're talking primarily what, Brad?
Well, when we think of the Grand Strand tourism, certainly the stretch of beaches, 60 miles that extend from the North Carolina border right down into Georgetown, we always term it the Myrtle Beach area To the visitor, Myrtle Beach is that mystical, magical place that has thousands of restaurants, amusements, attractions, hotels, campgrounds, bed and breakfast. So when we promote the Myrtle Beach area, but that really encompasses all of the area. And frankly, as you look to our growth, we know we're growing west. We think tourism will continue to expand westward into the county. And Mayor Dawsey from Aner was the first one to coin Aner and the Ashby Ward Welcome Center as the gateway to the Grand Strand. So even the area of the county that was largely dependent on tobacco is now becoming indirectly part of the tourism industry.
Listen to that. I hadn't thought about that. The gateway to the Grand Strand. And that location, the Ashby Ward Welcome Center, has been just that. What a great welcome location for so many.
It certainly is, and it couldn't have a more fitting name. Mr. Ward spent 30 years welcoming visitors and figuring out ways to bring more visitors into the area. So it was a great and very fitting tribute to name that building in his honor. And frankly, it's turned out to be a great marketing tool for the area. We'll get well over 200,000 visitors that will stop through there this year. And most of those visitors haven't been to the area, and many are looking for accommodations or places to go, things to do. So it's a great service to the visitor, a great marketing tool for the businesses, and most importantly, it's symbolic for the tourism industry as we welcome people into Horry County.
Absolutely. I bet there are a lot of our viewers in the PD in southeastern North Carolina that have just cruised on by there, saw a new building on the right. That's something that they could easily stop at. What are they going to see if they pop in there?
Well, we hope the first thing they see is a warm, smiling face. That's what we train our staff to do, and I think they do a wonderful job at that. If they need directions, we provide that. If they need to find a place to stay, we certainly do that. But many people take the time to relax, to wander around, to help plan their vacation. There's so much that changes in this area, and even if you came last year or the year before, you might not know what's available. So this is an opportunity to find out what's new, as well as what specials might be running, what theater shows might be in place. It's a great opportunity before you get to your place to stay to figure out what exactly you want to do and where you want to go. And frankly, if you've got children, and you know how it is, you've got to take a bathroom break somewhere along the line, just conveniently enough to stop, but yet make the rest of the trip and not have to wait too long. So we think it's a great opportunity for the visitor to use, and whether you're in-state, out-of-state, whether you've been here before, you haven't been here before, it's a good opportunity to stop and help plan your vacation before you get to the beach.
Absolutely. And I think you'll have Chamber TV up there as well, so folks can stop and actually take a break, not have to think, not even read anything, just watch a little TV, see about some Chamber members, as well as info about the entire Strand.
It does, and it also gives you an insight as to what's going on. There might be some special events coming up. Of course, we've got the Sun Fun Festival in a few weeks, but we promote all of the area events from the North Myrtle Beach, Little River communities down to the South End, and even the Aner Hoedown and the Loris Bog Off. Those are important events that attract visitors as well. So it's a great place to stop at any of the offices, but particularly the Aner office is the one that's most traveled because that road is such a busy one. And we know most of those visitors come in and out on 501, so we wanted to give them an opportunity to be of service to them on the way in and on the way out.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that on the way out as well. It's a great time to stop virtually any day of the week. And I'm so glad you mentioned is it the 53rd Annual Sun Fun Festival kicking off?
I believe this will be the 54th.
Wow. Wow, Brad. What's that like now being associated with a group that is putting on the 54th of anything? And actually the president and CEO. Yeah.
It's interesting when you think back to, the pavilion was brand new the first time they had the Sun Fun Festival, and we're excited about it. There's some changes this year, but some of the more traditional components will still be there, the pageant, the parade, but some exciting new things. Of course, in downtown Myrtle Beach, Show Center with live acts, including Buddy Jewell, who's a hot country artist that I don't believe has played the Grand Strand before. A lot of other entertainment will be going on throughout that weekend, but also some new events. We've got the Kids Fair in Surfside and Gospel Fest in North Myrtle Beach, and that's an event we're partnering with the North Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce and the City of North Myrtle Beach on for some great gospel music on Sunday. So you would be hard-pressed to find something that you didn't like in Sun Fun, but if there's anything you think that the Grand Strand doesn't have, I think Sun Fun Weekend, it will definitely be on display throughout the area.
Brad, I've seen the names John Boy and Billy recently as it related to Sun Fun on some press release that went out, as well as something related to Sun Fun, or at least around the same time at Coastal Federal Field, a big event coming up.
John Boy and Billy will be here, and of course they're well-known radio personalities, and they're going to have a lot of fun. They're going to be involved in several events, and they'll be leading the parade. With John Boy and Billy, you never quite know what's coming, but we know it'll be fun, and they're doing a great job at promoting the Grand Strand and have been big fans of the area for a long time. And as you mentioned, the Pelicans baseball team is putting on a concert, and we're just delighted they chose to do it during Sun Fun, and that'll be Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson. So,
wow.
Two very well-known, phenomenal musical acts, and if that's not of your interest, of course, there's other things going on that night, but great opportunity to see some excellent musical talent on Friday and then again on Saturday. And, of course, at the Pelicans, there is a ticket charge. The Buddy Jewell concert and the other things at Show Center, which will be right there in the pavilion area, are all free. And we think the best part of Sun Fun is it's free, it's fun, and if the weather holds out, there should be a lot of people to enjoy the Sun Fun Festival.
Absolutely. All this info, a viewer could go online, learn a little more. Where's the best location? There's probably a phone number folks can call from both in the area as well as out of the area to learn more.
Certainly, if they have any questions, they're welcome to call the Chamber. Of course, area code 843-626-7444, and the website, www.myrtlebeachinfo.com.
Okay.
And that'll provide any information they want. And if they can't find it on the website, they're welcome to call. But we hope that folks will consider coming to the beach. It's still a very affordable time. That first weekend in June, a lot of the rates haven't changed. It's a great time to start the summer vacation. And as they say about the Sun Fun Festival, summer starts here. And we hope to start it off well this year.
What a great slogan. Summer starts here. And they've been saying that for, golly, 50-plus years. It's incredible to think about that. And of course, the first week of June is so critical. As the rates haven't all shifted in the area or beginning to shift, what a critical time to get in.
Yeah. It used to be that you'd have trouble getting rooms because we didn't have that many rooms available on the beach, but the beach has grown so much that anybody that wants to come during Sun Fun Weekend will be able to find accommodations regardless of your price range and where you want to stay. So great weekend. The weather should be excellent. A lot of entertaining opportunities for the family, and the beach is a great time any year, but particularly the beginning of June, it's a wonderful time to come to the Myrtle Beach area.
And I'm so glad, you know, as you say, when folks coming in from long distances think of the Myrtle Beach is really all the same thing. And that's an important thing for us to remember when we oftentimes get caught up in the demarcation lines. There aren't for folks coming to the area. And you stressed that in that great op-ed piece you had in the area papers last week about National Tourism Week, but recognizing that it's so critical for visitors to be welcomed in such a positive way.
Absolutely. It's not uncommon at all for someone to stay in North Myrtle Beach and eat in Myrtle Beach and see a show in Surfside and maybe even venture over to Conway for some shopping or entertainment. So the Grand Strand truly is a great tourism product, and the city and county lines really are only seen by those of us who live here.
Right.
The visitors don't recognize those, and rightfully so. So when we promote the destination, I believe our greatest strength is the diversity of offerings. Most visitors come because of the beach, but when they see all the rest that we have to offer, that's what sells them on coming back, and that's one of the reasons why 70% of our visitors are repeat visitors.
Is that right, Brad? 70%? How did y'all come up with that figure? How were y'all able to figure that out?
Well, we track it pretty closely just so we know whether or not our marketing is working and understanding the changing demographics, not only who's coming and where they're staying and how much they're spending, but why they come here and where else they might choose to go. And we find that about 7 out of 10 are repeat visitors. And that's not a credit to the Chamber or the marketing effort. That's a credit to a lot of those businesses, particularly the small businesses that really cater to the needs of their customers. We have some individuals that come so often they think their name ought to be on the same hotel room they've used for the last 10 or 20 years. So there's a very emotional relationship and attraction with some of the visitors in this destination, and we love that. That means they'll keep coming back for future years.
Absolutely. I think I saw there was a theme for National Tourism Week that y'all are promoting, and I think you were the first to kick it off last week, Brad.
Well, we certainly we'll always use a theme, and typically the theme has been tourism's important. It brings a lot of money into the economy. It pays for a lot of our needs, and that's true. But we felt this year it's appropriate following Mother's Day that maybe the best theme for tourism is the same thing your mother used to tell you. When somebody does something nice, say thank you. And we felt like the theme for Tourism Week ought to be thank you for visiting. For those visitors that come here each year, they're making a choice to bring their dollars into our community, and they could choose to go a lot of other places. So we felt like a very simple, very basic theme, thank you for visiting, was appropriate. But certainly not just up to us. Mayor McBride and the City Council agreed to put that on all their vehicles. You, I think, have been a great one as far as promoting visitors and thanking them for coming and all that they do. And a lot of businesses have taken that up. So billboards, bumper stickers, T-shirts, the like, it's all a way to recognize the visitors and not only stress the importance of tourism, but to thank those who are choosing to come here for doing so.
It is so important, of course, when we think about friendship teams. Those are a big part of what's happening. Obviously, that's a city event, and so many of the folks involved with the city welcoming bikers to the area the rest of this month. A lot of that's happening.
It sure is, and it's uncommon, you would think, for a big event like that to have volunteers come out, simply walk the street, smile, say hello, and be of assistance to visitors. I walked on the friendship team last year, and I was amazed at the reception people gave you. You're not sure exactly how they're going to perceive it, and people found it to be simply a wonderful concept and very warm and welcoming. And I think that speaks volumes not only for the people doing that, but for the city and the area.
Absolutely. You know, Brad, there's so many aspects when you think about each week of the summer. So many folks are touched. The experience, and I can't remember who was with us. It was a professor. It was Kate Ferreira who was with us from Horry Georgetown Tech, talking about that experience for the person who's coming here for a week and is taking home so many memories from their experience while they're here, that oftentimes the experience that we help make for them will change the rest of their lives, will impact their scrapbooks, and will impact the memories they have of their childhood, whether good, oftentimes some tough times, but at the same time very special times.
Yeah. I think if we ever forget that tourism is as much a consumer behavior, it's a social behavior, it's time for families and others to get together to enjoy themselves, and it's as much a part of the American experience as a Thanksgiving Day dinner and other events that we all remember throughout our lives. And so tourism is much more than hotels and restaurants and amusement parks. It's about making memories. And to the extent that we can help people get excited about that and look forward to that and enjoy themselves, it certainly gives them a reason to come back. But more importantly, they walk away with something more than just a memory. It's an experience that they'll never forget for the rest of their lives, and one that we would often look back upon ourselves. So that's what Myrtle Beach is about, is making memories, memories that will last a lifetime.
Absolutely. Tourism is not the only thing the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce is about, though. It is continuing to grow that base and grow the stability of business in the area. What all, y'all are involved in so much, Brad, as we look on, and I'm so glad you mentioned myrtlebeachinfo.com. There's critical information there, as well as pure tourism information, but the critical information about how the chamber functions, the activities y'all get involved in, obviously a lot of lobbying that's going on, trips to Columbia, trips to Washington, trips that truly impact area citizens.
Yeah. To me, the Chamber's mission is really pretty simple. It's promoting, protecting, and improving businesses. And the promotion piece is certainly critical, but when you think about the protecting piece, that's an important part that a good chamber should provide. And that's not just us, but other organizations. You talk to Bridget Johnson from Conway.
Right.
Bridget's a big advocate for business, and of course all the chambers are. We think that making those trips to Columbia and Washington to carry the message of what's important, not just for businesses, but for the Grand Strand, is absolutely critical. I'd love to think that the right things happen just because of the right things, but sometimes somebody's got to be there to speak out and remind those in the position to make those decisions just how important the Grand Strand and its businesses are. But we think the lobbying effort, although it's something we would rather not have to do, is absolutely critical if the Grand Strand is going to continue to grow, because a lot of our needs will only be met with the support and working relationship with not only local government, but state and federal as well.
Mm-hmm. Have they received the message? What's that like, Brad? Can you gauge or begin to gauge it? I'm sure you think about it as a multi-year process, that you've got to continue to grow the recognition for the Strand, but do you think they're getting it?
We certainly do believe they're getting it, and to the extent that I think now when we go to Washington, they know what we're there to talk about, whether it's I-73 or expansion of the airports or beach renourishment. They know the message, and they're on it. Of course, our delegation in Washington is challenged without seniority to accomplish some big goals, but they understand the needs and certainly understand the importance of the Grand Strand. I think those in Columbia understand it, but you can't remind them enough. When it comes to the Grand Strand, they understand it's tax return time, and at times when we have to fill in with the state budget, the shortfall that's been covered in large part by tourism. But we can't be there enough to carry our message, and not simply a selfish message, but recognizing that what's good for tourism and what's good for the Grand Strand is good for the state of South Carolina. They get it, but you have to sing that song over and over and over again, and that's what we intend to do.
Absolutely. Singing songs, Brad, and that makes me think a little about yourself. And normally I wouldn't let 20 minutes go without just sharing with the viewers a little about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
Not originally from the area. I grew up in the Midwest, and after college moved to the East and roamed around, traveled a little bit internationally. But I moved here in May of 1995, so I've been here for 10 years, which I think is enough to call yourself a local.
Yeah,
if you've been here that long.
Yeah, I would tend to think so, although there may be someone who would fight us on that, but 10 years seems like the right number.
Well, I tell people that, you hear the old saying that somebody's been here long enough that they could shoot a cannonball down Ocean Boulevard and not hit anybody, and they remember those days. I don't remember back that far, but I remember when Bike Week was just a week. And, of course, now this month, Bike Week becomes Bike Month.
That's
but
right.
The area continues to grow and change, and as much as I appreciate all that I garnered from my upbringing in the Midwest and still have family there, I wouldn't trade living in this area for anything.
Oh, yeah. May of '95, 10 years exactly this month.
That's right.
You've got family with you here in the area.
I do. My wife and 2 children, and we love it and couldn't imagine living anywhere else.
It is tough to imagine. Of course, when you've been here, it's tough for folks who I mean, you know, they think of Myrtle Beach for their week or 2 weeks that they'll come down here. It's tough for them to imagine living here year-round, and folks seem incredulous when you say, I live in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, somebody told me yesterday I have the easiest job in the world selling Myrtle Beach, and to that extent, they're probably right. Wonderful place to live, and we live in a sort of an amusement park environment, but there's so many other resources here, the culture, the history, the education. I'm just hopeful that we're able to live here for a lot longer and enjoy it, because it is a wonderful place to live, work, and play.
Absolutely, Brad. You know, we'll hear folks, and I've heard you say it before, I'm probably paraphrasing a little bit, that the Grand Strand is one of the key engines that really drive the economy in South Carolina. When we break that down simply for folks who may not have a full understanding of that, obviously we talk about $5 billion spent in the area along the Grand Strand. How do those funds, how are those sent up to Columbia? How do those come back to impact us? What's just the process there for folks to have a little better understanding of how the Strand serves that role?
Well, when visitors come in, any purchase they make is taxable in different levels and different rates. But when they stay at a hotel, they'll pay up to 10% in taxes. When they make transactions in stores and restaurants, they pay taxes that might be 5, 6, 7%. And of course, those are remitted by individual businesses to Columbia. And parts of those monies come back here, and parts of them stay in Columbia and spread throughout the state. So when a visitor comes to the Myrtle Beach area, they're not only helping us fund our local government and needs like police and fire and beach renourishment, we're paying for schools throughout the state, for road needs throughout the state, for a lot of things that the state of South Carolina needs to pay for. It comes from the tourist expenditures. So we always try to point out that when you invest in tourism, whether through advertising or building roads or protecting our beaches, that has a return on investment to South Carolina that's unparalleled by any other industry.
Is there a lot of interface? You know, we think about the South Carolina Parks, Recreation, and Tourism. They're doing quite a bit of expansion throughout the state, but obviously there are still needs there.
Yeah, there certainly are. And of course, PRT, Parks, Recreation, and Tourism, is responsible not only for marketing tourism, but also managing our state parks and managing the recreation funds for the state. And Chad Prosser, former Horry County resident, is leading that agency now. They do a wonderful job in terms of selling the state of South Carolina and helping us then in turn sell the destination. PRT is able to play at a level that we, of course, can't play as an individual destination. They package all of what South Carolina has to offer and create interest, and then from there, those who are interested in coming will select their destination. So it's really a partnership, and we welcome that partnership and value it very much.
Speaking of that partnership, do you all ever get together to help promote? Of course, they're promoting the entire state. The Strand is thought of oftentimes as virtually representing the entire state. I mean, are there ever partnerships that you all go in together to help bring folks to the area?
Certainly are. There's a lot of partnerships. Just recently, we partnered on the Great American Road Show, brought over 300 motor coach operators and promoters into the area, and that was a joint state-local promotion that Jean Ann Brakefield and her team at the Convention Bureau worked with the PRT team on. Probably one of the most critical opportunities, and you're well aware of the need for international marketing, is to work with PRT and other coastal destinations like Charleston and Hilton Head to promote the South Carolina coast to those in Europe and other countries that might want to come here. And when you attract a European visitor, they tend to travel up and down the coast. They stay much longer, spend much more money, and it's an opportunity for the coast of South Carolina to promote itself, and PRT is an important part of that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when you get folks visiting, of course, you all desire folks to visit myrtlebeachinfo.com, both for helping plan destinations, and you all feed off to member businesses, as well as just to get multiple information about the area.
Yeah. 10 years ago, the model used to be if you could mail a bunch of books to people, they would plan their vacation 6 months ahead, and that was your measurement of success. Today, that decision-making process happens in days or a few weeks, and we think the best opportunity is not for us necessarily to mail information, although we do that. We'll mail hundreds of thousands of packages this year. But for most of the travel purchases that are being made online, we believe our role is to get that individual user on the other end of the computer in touch with a business, whether it's a hotel, a restaurant, a theater, and let them make their purchases. So many tourists want the convenience of finding information online and sometimes purchasing it online. So we think our role has changed, not simply as a fulfiller of requests of information, but a packager of information, putting the business and the consumer together. And we've had great success with that over the past year, and we think that's a pretty critical need for the tourism industry, not only here along the Grand Strand, but nationwide.
Absolutely, Brad. We've run out of time. Would you be willing to come back tomorrow to fill? We've got quite a few more questions to get into. Would you be willing to come back?
Love to. Always a pleasure to be on Carolina People.
Great. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Brad Dean coming up next. The goal is, the hope is that everyone in the community will join in this message. Thank you for visiting. Thank you for visiting. It's a simple message, but it relays so much to so many people. Take the time. Remember what it's all about. Folks come to the area, grow in the area. It enables us to continue to grow. Thank you for visiting.